Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. Welcome to this first webinar organized by the Global Money Week Secretariat in preparation for the Global Money Week 2022. Today's Secretariat is happy to be joined by speakers from different countries that are going to share with you practices from around the world on how to support teachers in preparation and during the Global Money Week. They will provide some interesting experience and hopefully some inspiration for you to apply some of these practices in your own countries. So we really invite you to be active and ask questions in the chat box. And we will also be happy to address any specific questions that you have in relation to Global Money Week 2022. So I would like to also mention that this meeting is recorded and it will be available alongside the slides that will be presented today on the Global Money Week website after the meeting. So I would like now to give the floor to Ms. Florence Messi, our Head of Consumer Finance, Insurance and Private Pensions at the OECD, and Mr. Alexandre Vasco, Director of the Office of Investor Protection at the Securities and Exchange Commission at Brazil, to start this meeting.
Thank you very much, Bianca, and good morning, very good morning to you, Vasco, in Latin America, and those reaching us from America. Good afternoon for those of you in Asia or the other parts of the world, and well, welcome to the webinar. The team has kindly prepared for me some slides in order to focus the discussion, so I will share my screen. As you know, it is a series of webinars that is really aimed at helping you prepare the Global Money Week for this year, and the topic of today, as just mentioned by Bianca, is about engaging teachers. So with no further ado, I'll share my slide, hoping the technology is working. Yes, I just confirm by nodding that you can see it well. Yes. So this is a first webinar, and there will be a second one before the Global Money Week starts. And as just mentioned, we want to really focus on how to engage teachers in the Global Money Week. Just to say, of course, that we are very happy to celebrate the anniversary of Global Money Week. Actually, it's only the second year that the OECD is coordinating the Global Money Week, but we are very happy to have you in celebrating the 10th year of the Global Money Week. And I hope that this year we'll have even more countries joining in a virtual or in-person format. In order to actually focus our idea on this year Global Money Week, a theme has been chosen by the working group that is in charge of coordinating the Global Money Week with the OECD. It is Build Your Future, Be Smart About Money. So this theme can really be used by all participants to create Global Money Week activities. It is really aiming at capturing the importance of thinking about one's own future and being quite forward-looking in terms of making financial decisions. It's also aimed at capturing other areas that are really surrounding financial literacy, meaning typically sustainability issues and the digitalization of financial services. And you see on the right-hand side of your slide, the official hashtag for the Global Money Week. So be sure to use them whenever you're communicating in social media. Now, of course, the team has been producing a number of resources that you can use for this Global Money Week in 2022. First, the Global Money Week Toolkit and the Global Money Week brochures, which both are available in several languages, namely English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Russian. So again, be sure to use this toolkit and brochure. We also have a Global Money Week branding guide, Global Money Week social media toolkit, in order to help you and support you in using social media around your Global Money Week events, the Global Money Week reports, and the Global Money Week logo that also can be used, of course, through your activities. And you can actually pick some good ideas for activities in previous Global Money Week reports and reports. So be sure to have a look at those resources that are really aimed for you in order really to support you in preparing this year Global Money Week. And as you will remember, and as for last year, we have actually prepared a pre-campaign form, and we would like, of course, to remind you that it will be important for you to actually fill in this pre-campaign form. It is really aimed at helping us keeping track of your activities in your countries, and also looking at which institutions are actually participating in your particular country. It will also be quite important in terms of the aftermath of the Global Money Week and the annual report that we will be preparing. And remember that if you plan to take photos during the Global Money Week, ensure that you have the consent of those pictures to share their photo with the Global Money Week Secretariat. And we only accept actually photos and videos of Global Money Week activities with the appropriate photo or video permission and forms. As you know, of course, we are living in a digital world where communication is very important, but at the same time, we want to keep and make sure that we keep the privacy of people, and especially, I would say, young people, because they are really the target of the Global Money Week. Moving on to today's webinar, as mentioned at the beginning, we want to really focus on how we can engage and support teachers throughout the Global Money Week's activities. And we are very lucky to have with us 3 speakers from around the globe, shall I say, that will be sharing with us their actual ideas or already experience in engaging teachers around the Global Money Week. Namely, we have Stéphanie Rousseau at the Financial Service Market Authority of Belgium. Next, we have Nilikatan Laya Ariahan, Securities and Exchange Board of India, and Alina Amir, Aris Academy, Financial Education Network of Malaysia. So we really much hope that this webinar will be extremely fruitful for all of you in terms of preparing your Global Money Week activities. And of course, I'd like to thank very much the speakers of today and yourself as well for being active in this webinar. And at the same time, I'd like to mention, and closing this short opening remark, that this is the first webinar. We'll have a second webinar actually happening a bit later in order to really focus on monitoring the implementation and success of the Global Money Week activities. As you know, since we are spearheading the Global Money Week, we are really trying to focus on not only monitoring activities, but also look at your success and how to measure this success. And this webinar will be aimed at looking at the Global Money Week post form that the Secretariat has been developing and will share with you. So we very much hope that you can participate, and I invite you to already register anyway. And this is the end of my slides. I'd like to give the floor with no further ado to Vasco, or perhaps Bianca, actually.
Vasco, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Florene, for this introduction, and welcome everyone to this webinar. My name is Vasco. I work for the Security Exchange Commission of Brazil and the coordinator of the working group that is in charge of this campaign. I have just a few words about this campaign that will be carried out under these unprecedented events of the COVID-19. We almost overnight, since the pandemic starts, school principals, teachers, and parents need to adapt and to ensure school education activities would be carried out without the formal school setting. So people move to online courses, and of course this also posed a challenge for us to carry out our educational campaign, and particularly for Global Money Week, which its first edition was under the OECD coordination, was launched during the pandemics. So we all need to adapt our own programs and activities, and also learn how to carry out a campaign under these difficult and challenging times. So, but more than 2 years after the start of the pandemics, I think almost 2 years, we know for sure that efforts to deploy distance learners at scale across all levels of education provided valuable lessons for us all. And I think that this can help us to plan for a long-term strategy to work in an even more open, inclusive, and flexible education system. We all know that countries invested heavily in distance learning over the last months, which is a concept that includes online learning, distance education, massive open online courses. And also one-way massive broadcasting, like the use of podcasts and social media and other learning platforms. So there is a lot of innovation, and I think this can help us to moving this campaign forward. So just a few comments on lessons that I think that we can we have have the opportunity to employ in the next campaign. I think it's important to work in collaboration with educational systems. In the past, campaigns could work directly with schools. And although this door is still open, I think COVID-19 added a lot of more complexities to school systems and teachers. So now it's more important than ever to partner with the local authorities in charge of education. Secondly, by doing this, you can try also to plug your campaign initiatives with the local educational systems. As countries develop strategies and launch programs to support distance learning, a first lesson is to adapt your local campaign strategy to take advantage of the measures that were taken by the governments to deliver education during the pandemics. And that includes, for example, in Brazil, a lot of school departments launch apps on mobile phones so kids that do not have access to a high internet connection, high-speed internet connection, could have some kind of educational activities during the social distance measures. And thirdly, by working with the school systems, you can also create materials and content that would not only support your campaign in March, but also to encourage a permanent shift in the way that financial education is taught in classrooms, virtual or in-person classroom. If your country has a national curriculum, you can try to develop content and pool your resources to support teachers. And by doing this, try to be the most inclusive possible. Develop content also that is high quality, but some content that is high quality, but can be accessible to teachers and schools that lack access to high-speed internet or appropriate technological devices. Please consider the reality of teachers living in rural areas or in remote places or forests that cannot afford expensive tools like laptops and softwares. I can say that we had some very interesting and useful experiments using WhatsApp with teachers talking to us in a WhatsApp call because they do not have access to internet connection, but they have access to mobile phones. So, and just to conclude, in Brazil, we partner with the Ministry of Education to launch a portal for training teachers in how to include financial education in schools. It aims at reaching like 500,000 teachers, but we are not only focusing on this high level content that would require a very good broadband connection, but also we are combining this with partnering with the state departments so they can also deliver local content in a way that is relevant and accessible. And just to conclude, something that is working very well was our contests on social media for students. And last year we launched a pilot on TikTok, a CVM educational profile on TikTok, which is very popular among young people. And we also carry out a contest, and that we are stimulating students to create videos and share about their experience on financial planning. So we also want to perhaps soon share with our colleagues the results, and I think this is also offer an opportunity for us all to learn. And so with that, I would like to thank you very much for this OECD to organizing this webinar. And I give the word back to you, Bianca.
Thank you very much, Vasco. I will take the floor now. My name is Chiara, and I coordinate the work of the OECD International Network on Financial Education and also our work on Global Money Week. So before going into the session, I would like to thank very warmly Vasco for being the chair of the Global Money Week OECD Info Working Group and for leading us in this journey and sharing his huge amount of experience in doing financial education and coordinating this kind of campaigns. So we're really grateful to be working with you. But today we have, as Ferran said, we have a very nice and diverse lineup of speakers from Belgium, India, and Malaysia who will share with us their experiences and thoughts in especially engaging teachers in Global Money Week. So we all know that young people are the main target audience of the campaign, but this would not be possible if teachers were not engaged in these efforts. And they do have a great role. And as Vasco was saying, they especially have a great role in ensuring the continuity throughout the year and the sustainability of the financial education messages also beyond Global Money Week. So let me start by giving the floor to Stephanie Rousseau from the Financial Services Market Authority in Belgium. So Stephanie, I know that in Belgium you have this great Wikifin platform. So can you tell us how you use it to develop content in primary schools and secondary schools?
Yes, thank you, Chiara, for the introduction and also for organizing this webinar. If it's good, you have, or Bianca has the presentation. Yes, okay, thank you. So hello, everyone. One of the main missions of the FSMA is actually the coordination of financial education in Belgium. And for that purpose, Wikifin was founded in 2013 as the program for financial education in Belgium. And since then, Wikifin organizes the Money Week in Belgium. So I'd like to tell you more about how we engage teachers in participating. For the primary schools, we offer free board games in which I tell you more about later. And for secondary schools, we organized a Wikifin quiz last year. And also, as said by Vasco, the focus shifted. We also shifted to a digital focus, and we organized online classes taught by some VIPs. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. For the primary schools, we have developed two board games actually to play with in class with the kids, with the students. And the goal is basically the same for the two games. It's learning about money in a fun way. And they do so by managing a small budget and by learning on savings and managing a small budget. So we offer the games for free. We send them to the teachers who register for the Money Week, but they can also download the games via our website. So if they want, they can prepare even before the Money Week by downloading the game. And unfortunately, now with the pandemic, it's no longer possible. But before, we offered also the opportunity to invite an expert in the classroom. There would be someone of our organization or someone from our partners, and they would actually play the game with the kids and also explain a bit more on how to manage your budget. So of course, to advertise these activities, we made publicity, and that's on the next slide. Thank you. We made some publicity via our newsletter. We have our Wikifin newsletter, especially for teachers, and a lot of a great deal of the teachers in Belgium are subscribed to our newsletter. And we also have a Facebook page, of course. But as an extra encouragement, we had a contest, and all the classes who were registered, they could win a meet and greet with the Queen of Belgium. So we had actually one virtual meet and greet for a Dutch speaking class and one for a French speaking class. And this was a great success, this action. More than 10,000 children participated in these, or they played with these games. So that's a lot for a small country like Belgium. And to prepare the teachers, we offer free videos. That's on the next slide, please. We have, as you said, we have a Wikifin platform, a Wikifin website, where we offer a lot of free videos and teaching materials. So teaching materials with exercises, tips for teachers, and it's all freely available on our website, so they can prepare the Money Week with this. And then for the secondary schools, we organized a Wikifin quiz on money matters via Kahoot. And for some of you who don't know Kahoot, it's an online and interactive platform. It's really cool. And we also had a host presenting the quiz, so it was really a fun way to interact with the students. We had some 20 questions on all on different subjects on money matters. It was about 1 hour 45 minutes, and the stakes were high because the winning class could get a prize of 500 euros to spend on money on a class project. So we had a lot of participants as well, about 2,000 students. So actually, because it was such a success, we planned this year to do it for the whole secondary school, not only for the first level, but the 3 levels. So yeah, and then to help prepare for the quiz, of course, the teachers can also log into our Wikifin platform for the free videos and the teaching materials. And we also put online each year the quiz, the questions of the quiz and the answers, of course, so they could prepare the quiz with their students. And then if you could go to the next slide, please. Yes, and the next one, please. Yes, and then last year we had something new. It was fully digital for the secondary school, so we also had online classes taught by some VIPs, and by VIPs I mean no one less than our Prime Minister Alexander De Croo, and some other ministers of the federal government, for instance, the Minister of Economy or Finance. They brought actually a live class from our Center for Financial Education, the Wikifin Lab, and on different subjects. For instance, the history of money, the evolution of money, bitcoins, but also social security, budgeting. So it was a wide, broad perspective. And the classes were interactive, so the students who could follow it online via Teams, but they could also ask questions to the minister, and they would answer it at the end of the class. So that was also a big success. And this year we will do something similar, but not with ministers. We would like to approach it more in a humoristic way, and we ask some comedians to prepare a lesson, but in a fun way. The videos were made available, of course, on our website for those who could not participate in the live class. Yes, and you can go to the next slide, please. And then we also have some campaigns, of course, to advertise or to promote all the activities that we do. We have our own channels, such as our website, our Facebook page, the newsletter, as I said, for the teachers, and press releases. But we also work with an advertising agency who created a Facebook campaign especially for the Money Week and for promoting the Money Week. So this helps also a lot to advertise. And then after the event, of course, we posted, or during and after the event, we posted a lot on our own channels. But even the Belgian monarchy and the federal government, or some of the ministers, posted on their social media. So that helped a lot also to promote the Money Week and all the activities. So we expect this year to have even more participants. And even also some local and national TV and radio stations broadcasted a short emission on the activities, and also in printed media there was some advertising. So yeah, we were very happy. And if you have any questions, I'd like to answer it now, or I think maybe later in the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. This was a very interesting overview of all your programs, and congratulations for reaching out to so many young people.
Thank you.
Let me remind all the audience, please do feel free to share any questions in the chat or in the Q&A function in Zoom. I will be monitoring these questions, and I will first let our speakers present their work, but then I will take up these questions afterwards. So let's now go from relatively small country in Europe, which is Belgium, to a very large country in Asia. So I have the pleasure now of introducing Hariharan, who is Chief General Manager at SEBI in India. SEBI is also the national coordinator of Global Money Week in India. And I'm always impressed when I see figures of reach and involvement of students and teachers in India. So as soon as you will see his slides, you will also be impressed. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from you about your efforts and how you organize Global Money Week and the work of teachers especially. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chiara, for the nice introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. And I thank the OECD for giving us this opportunity to present the Indian experience of how we have been engaging the teachers, because without teachers, as the speakers, both Vasco and Flor, how they emphasize the need for engaging teachers, if we have this Global Money Week, is really to be successful, we need to engage the teachers in a large manner. So how do we do it is what presently I am concentrating on this presentation. So if you see this, basically just to give an idea about how our education system, the numbers, and how we have been engaging and the supporting teachers during this Global Money Week, and what have been the key takeaways from our experience. That's what I would like to present this evening. So this is broadly the size of the Indian schools. If you see, there are 1.5 million schools. Of that, around 80% are about elementary schools, about 9.68 million teachers, 264.5 million students. So this is the target group which we are talking about. But let me honestly tell you that we have a long way to reach a large number of them, even though we have a large number of people available. So if you see, as far as the Global Money Week celebration is concerned, as Chiara mentioned, SEBI is the national coordinator. So we have a multi-stakeholder approach in India where we involve all those in the financial sector to make the Global Money Week celebration as much successful. So we have the first financial sector regulators, the central bank, the RBI, the insurance regulator, IRDA, the pension regulator, PFRDA, and most importantly, I want to mention this organization, the National Center for Financial Education. For those of you who are not aware, this is a not-for-profit company promoted by the financial sector regulators, that is RBI, IRDA, SEBI, and PFRDA. This has been promoted exclusively for the promotion of financial education in the country. So most of our financial education activities especially those relating to the Global Money Week, we channelize through this National Center for Financial Education. So over these slides, you will see that what are the various activities, especially in relating to schools and the teachers, how this NCFE has been taking the mandate of financial education. As I may mention that even our national strategy emphasizes the need for taking the financial education to the schools, and more importantly, to include the financial education in the school curriculum. So just to give an overview of the activities and the reach that we did in 21. So we reached to, because of the COVID, we could not do much of the physical seminars, but most of them through the virtual mode, we were able to do 1,232 financial webinars across the country, covering over 100,000 youth and students. Then we conducted a quiz contest again for the students. About 2,480 participants were there. Again, essay writing competition, we gave themes on financial literacy, etc. And we asked the youth and students to write on that, and there were prizes given to them. And these essays were also published. And we had a reach of over 1,000 educational institutions during this Global Money Week 2021. Now, for this, what did we do before and during this Global Money Week? So one thing I want to emphasize is that Global Money Week is the one time where we actually press the accelerator on increasing our financial education reach, if I may put it in that way. Otherwise, throughout the year, there is a continuous engagement of teachers even before the Global Money Week. So this is something which I want to emphasize, that it's not that only during Global Money Week that you engage with the teachers or engage with the children, but this also helps that when you're doing Global Money Week, you are able to conduct more programs, able to reach to the teachers much more faster because they know about you, what you are doing and all that. So we do the financial education related training programs for teachers. I will come to that in details in the next slides. And also we reach out to the teachers through emails and regular communication, inviting them for various activities planned out during the Global Money Week. That is, before the Global Money Week, during the year, we engage with them. And during the Global Money Week, we tell them these are the programs that we are organizing. So we find that there is how it is received is much more better. Then the most important thing is introduction of the financial education related content in the school curriculum. As I said, that this is a major step that we are working on. We are engaged with both at the national level and at the state provincial level, because we have different educational systems. At the national level, we have certain syllabus, and at the provincial level, we have certain syllabus. I am pleased to inform that at the provincial level, many of the states that we call it the provincial level, they have included that in the curriculum. The entire material, the entire booklets and all are prepared by these NCFE. And also we are in engagement with the National Education Ministry for including it in the curriculum. So the new education policy, we have got a positive feedback that they are going to include it in the national curriculum as well. So we have these interactive sessions with teachers. And while we are doing this, the resource persons and the security market trainers who are engaged by SEBI for their own financial education activities, they are mostly teachers. Why I'm emphasizing this is that teachers are someone who can make a complex thing explain in a simple manner, and also they are much more, their credibility is much more, and they don't sell any financial products. So we make it a point to engage as many teachers as possible whenever we are doing these financial education programs. So these are some of the initiatives for teachers in India. So the Financial Education Institutes for Teachers in the Youth by the NCFE, as I mentioned, we do the awareness programs through our stock exchanges, depositories, educational institutions. Then we have the Visit SEBI programs for students and teachers, and also the initiatives and interactions with teachers during different awareness programs for their capacity building. If you see all this, these are programs which not happen only during the Global Money Week. These happen even before the Global Money Week and even after the Global Money Week. So there is a continuous engagement through various programs, through various stakeholders, that we keep them, teachers as well as students, engaged in the financial education initiatives. So coming back to the initiatives of the National Center for Financial Education, we have three broad programs: that Financial Education Training Program, FETP for the teachers, the Money Smart School Program, and the National Financial Literacy Assessment Test, NFLAT. So these and the conduct of dedicated awareness programs during the Global Money Week. This is broadly the way in which we engage with the teachers and students in India for financial education. Now, coming to the first of that programs, financial education training program. So this is something we do it for the teachers, especially. If you see it, that we believe that the first beneficiary of the financial education or the financial awareness should be teachers. So they understand, they experience, and then they impart this financial education awareness thing to the students as well. So this is an initiative for providing an unbiased personal financial education training to school teachers to facilitate inclusion of financial education in school curriculum. So on one way, while we are working with the authorities to include in the school curriculum, on the other side, we also encourage the schools and the educational institutions to adopt financial education on their own. So we conduct this for school teachers of classes 6 to 10 across the country, and to facilitate financial education classes in schools to encourage students to obtain basic financial skills. And the teachers who are undergoing this program, they are certified as Money Smart teachers. So coming back to the next program, which is called Money Smart School Program. So the earlier one was for the teachers, for individual. Now it is for the schools with whom they can undergo this voluntarily include financial literacy curriculum in their schools. And the curriculum workbooks are all made available to the schools. If you see on the right-hand side, as Vasco was mentioning about the material that we should be made available. So these are the materials which are made by the National Center for Financial Education. These workbooks are for different grades, for different standards, if you can see. So this curriculum also integrates with the existing subjects for different classes. So when we talk about financial education, we are not talking as a separate subject, how we can blend it with the existing subject so that the students are not burdened with extra subjects that they need to study. So after having done this, a certificate of appreciation and shield or trophy to school as Money Smart School is being given to them. And these schools implementing the program are certified as Money Smart Schools. Another major initiative is the National Financial Literacy Assessment Test. So this can be taken by any student. We have 3 levels where in-flight junior, in-flight intermediate, and in-flight senior categories, where online students can register themselves and test their own. They go through that material and they can take this test and find out how financially literate they are. And they can also get the merit and participation certificates. We also encourage the teachers to encourage more students to participate in this program. So through the NFLAT, we registered more than 200 schools and 50,000 students registered in the last year alone. So this is one program which is very, very fast gaining traction. And now we are thinking of introducing proctoring for the examinations. So these are the outreach of the financial education programs of the National Center for Financial Education. The geographical reach is across the country. The special focus districts, over 100,000, more than 2,500 workshops, more than 7,000 trained and certified through the FETP program, the school teachers. Then 16,734 training hours and workshops have been held. So these are some of the broad data as how much we are able to reach to the school teachers. These are just some photographs of the pictures of the programs that are held. This is a school teacher in one of the schools, you can see. And so to conclude, I would like to say that there is a need for continuous engagement with teachers. So if we need to have the participation of the teachers, first of all, if you need the participation of students, you need to have an active participation of the teachers. And if you need the active participation of teachers, we need to engage them on a continuous basis, even before the Global Money Week. We also do, prior to this, called a conclave of the heads of institutions called Principals Conclave. And there also we emphasize the need and on the need for propagating this financial literacy among the students. So the handholding of teachers with more training, with more booklets, with more material, these are all very, very important. So what we do is we have dedicated financial education activities, specially designed for teachers. So these are some of the activities, these are some of the things which we feel that if you do throughout the year and when we do through the Global Money Week, it will have much more wider participation among the students as well as the teachers. So definitely, as Vasco mentioned, we need to also have engaged with the authorities. The local school authorities are also engaged when we plan these programs. So this is broadly which I wanted to present. So if there are any questions, I can answer. And for further information, you can visit our investor website and also the National Center for Financial Education website, where you have all these material, all the booklets and all made available, all the videos made available. And let me also tell you that when we were doing this Global Money Week program last year, we had more than 1.4 billion hits on our website, investor website alone. So that shows the interest in these programs. And if we can reach it to the teachers, I'm sure that we can make it very, very successful program this year as well. So this is a presentation I have to make. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Hariana. And indeed, thank you for stressing the idea that I really loved your expression that Global Money Week is an occasion to push the accelerator for financial education at one point in time in the year, but that efforts to really make it work have to be done throughout the year and over the long term. So I see a few questions in the chat, but before answering them and discussing them with the audience, I will now give the floor to Alina Amir. Alina is a co-founder of the AROS Academy in Malaysia, and AROS Academy is a member of the Financial Education Network in Malaysia, which coordinates efforts, policy efforts and implementation in the country, and which is led by the Central Bank, Bank Negara Malaysia, and the Securities Commission of Malaysia. So Alina, we look forward to hearing your experience. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chiara. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm Alina. I am the program lead of Fund for Life. We're a partner of Financial Education Network Malaysia. I will be taking about 10 minutes to talk about how we have been supporting teachers to bring financial literacy into the classroom, especially during Global Money Week. I am a trained teacher myself and have been supporting teachers through training in the last 8 years or so, and really glad to share our learning today. As a start, the content, training, and approach that we do for teachers is based on the 6 financial literacies that have been outlined by the Malaysia's Ministry of Education. So we use this as a guide. The financial literacies comes with learning objectives, it comes with expected learning outcomes, and this is extremely helpful to help guide teachers integrate financial skills within subjects like languages, mathematics, civics, and many more. At Fund for Life, we do a lot of work with teachers, but to summarize it all, it can be categorized into 3 approaches with varying degree of commitment. Knowing that teachers are very busy, we're giving them choices on how they want to participate, especially in financial education. The first one is our PAC, which is also an acronym in Malay, but in English, it literally means a pack of activities for financial literacy. This is our exemplar lesson plans that teachers can refer to in terms of how the 6 financial literacies can look like within a specific subject. It is laid out like the lesson plan that teachers can then download, make edits to it to fit their classroom needs. And the second one is the demo class, and this is a live classroom with our trainers and actual students to allow teachers to experience what the activities within PAC can look like in action. The teachers who are tuning in also gets to participate as the students for the day. And the third one is our online self-learning course for teachers to develop their own financial knowledge and skills, but then leads them to building their own PAC or lesson plans to be shared with the community. So we don't want to just build teachers who are knowledgeable in financial education, but also build a community of educators who are building and sharing quality resources with each other. So I'll be going through each of these steps with a bit more detail in the next couple of slides. So our educator activity PAC for financial literacy was what we started off with. Financial literacy is not a standalone subject in our schools, and so showing teacher how to plan for it within their own subject is important. Sometimes one of the feedback we get from teachers is that they don't find opportunities where they can introduce financial education in a language class, for example, or in a history class or in a geography class. This PAC helps them think about how this can be integrated into various different subjects. We went one step further with our lesson plans to not only map it to the current curriculum and the financial literacy's learning objectives, but to also make our lesson plans meaningful and relevant by mapping it to the Sustainable Development Goals learning objectives. So within PAC, we include pre-lesson preparation, the main activities with the lessons where we spell out the step-by-step in running the activities with elaboration of the teacher actions as well as expected student action. And so teachers can visualize what this could look like in a classroom. We also include reflection guidelines and assessment so that teachers know how to run a lesson from end to end. As mentioned before, teachers can then download these lessons and edit them accordingly to their own style of teaching. The demo class that I mentioned earlier was something we did because we wanted teachers to be able to see that the strategies we laid out within PAC was not just something on paper, but also practical within a classroom setting. Now, PAC was created before the pandemic. And when we did the demo class last year during Global Money Week, we were in the midst of online learning. And this became an opportunity for us to share different thinking strategies of integrating financial skills within teachers' everyday online lessons. We also invited a sign interpreter to be with us during the demo class to ensure that special needs educators and students can also participate. We had a total of 6 episodes to cover 1 literacy each. Because it was remote, we were also able to then invite experts for each of the literacies to be guest speakers during the online lessons. This include representatives from the Central Bank of Malaysia, Securities Commission, our partner from FWD Takaful to talk about protection and coverage, just to name a few. We also invited actual students. To join us in the live stream so that we could simulate an actual interaction within a lesson. So the students have not gone through any of our lessons. We invited them to join our live stream. And also, we invited teachers to tune in and also participate remotely through the live chat and quizzes that we ran throughout the lesson. This is to help teachers experience it as a student and learn how to modify the activities for their own classroom. And we got really encouraging feedback from this particular demo class, as teachers were not just learning about financial literacy and financial knowledge and skills, but they could also see the pedagogical approach to teaching this in their own classroom. Finally, to truly empower our teachers, they can then create their own lesson plans and teaching materials. So we organize the resources submitted into a dashboard that other teachers can then filter based on the search criteria available. We show who have created this, a link to the resources that can be downloaded. And we can also show the number of times the resources have been accessed. Now, this really helps diversify the kinds of references that can be made available for teachers. And this also show real time which resources are popular and which topics are still lacking references. And so we can then build based on data. And these resources also come from the simplest of format to the most interactive and advanced. And these are all built by teachers who have gone through our courses. As Vasco mentioned earlier, inclusivity is very important to us. And we remind our teachers that the best technology is one that their students have access to. And so to ensure that we have a diversified pool of resources is one of our priority this year. The feedback we've received have been very encouraging, and they're sharing that through creating resources around financial literacy, they're also improving their own personal financial management. So as a recap, we create exemplar lesson plans where financial literacy is integrated within a lesson objectives from the national syllabus. We then show them how these activities can play out in action for teachers to experience it as a student, what an integrated lesson could look like. And finally, we allow for teachers to upskill in financial knowledge through our course and create their own resources to be then submitted and shared with the larger educator community. So we are on our portal fund4.life if you want to check out our resources. We're also on Instagram and very active on TikTok. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alina. This was extremely exciting, and I think I learned a lot. It was very nice, and I do like a lot this approach of providing different levels of resources to fit the different levels of engagement that teachers want to have, and also their prior level of knowledge of the subject. So this was extremely interesting. So I see that a few questions are coming through the chat. I will take. Of course, you can feel free to ask any questions to our speakers, but you can also ask questions to the Secretariat if you have any doubts about how to participate in Global Money Week, or if you have any specific questions on the logistics and so on. So I had a question from Natasha from India, who is asking how to participate in Global Money Week, basically. So you're very lucky. You have the national coordinator in India here with us today. So you can get in touch with Sebi, either with Hayan or his colleagues, or you can get in touch with the Global Money Week Secretariat at OECD, and we can put you in touch with them. And we do encourage Global Money Week activities to be coordinated within countries. So first of all, you should get in touch with your national coordinator, and they would let you know how to coordinate within the national campaign. But if you have other questions around Global Money Week, feel free to ask.
Can I add a word, Chiara?
Please, of course.
Yeah, see, what we do during this Global Money Week is we also create a microsite where all the programs and all these things are made available at one place. We also popularize it. So anybody wanting to participate in the Global Money Week from India, they can get in touch with us. In the presentation already I have given our my email IDs and contacts. So they can feel free to contact us.
Yes, indeed. It's really great initiative to create microsites so that all the information can be shared at national level. So I have two questions in the Q&A. Okay, I see that one has been answered in the meantime. So the other one is really a good question, I would say, and perhaps challenging one. So someone is asking how to communicate and I would say also educate students about non-fungible tokens and cryptocurrencies when talking to students, because students are extremely interested, but our colleague who asked the question is saying they are not satisfied about receiving information just about avoiding them due to the volatility and lack of regulation. Students would actually like to know more. So I'm turning this to the audience, I would say to the panel, I would say extended panel. If Vasco also wants to intervene, please feel free. So do you have any experience of doing financial education on cryptocurrencies for students? And if so, how did you do it in your country?
Yes, hello.
Please,
yes, we
please,
actually,
Stephanie. Yes.
Yes. So last year, as I said, we had the online classes taught by the ministers, and there actually the Prime Minister Alexander De Croo, he talked about the evolution of money and payment methods, and he also at the end talked quite a bit about cryptocurrencies and bitcoins, what it is, what are the risks also. So and on our platform, it's a bit like Alina said, the packs that you have, we also have something like that on our website, on our platform, and there we also have some teaching materials about cryptocurrency.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Anyone else would like to share their experience? Vasco.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Just quickly, just to say that, of course, it will depend on the regulatory perimeter in each country. There are different regulations and responsibilities, but of course, I think this is an area where education really plays a big role on protection, because it's a new frontier with this new financial technology. So it's the new financial system that is transforming, that's being transformed by those technologies. But so here at Security Exchange Commission, our messages are mostly for protection, because Ponzi schemes and financial pyramids are booming in Brazil. There's a explosion of new offerings, and a lot of consumers, investors are actually losing their money for fraudsters. So it's like a kind of pandemics of fraud the pandemics help to pave the way for more online offerings. So that was our initial response. We are working with the associations of fintechs and other organizations that can deliver content that we as regulators, we can't, because we might not have the power. But for protection, I think we can also do something. But we need to do more than that. And we have included in our initiatives webinars with industry participants that are, I cannot say reliable, but that are really committed to the development of this industry with investor protection. And I think partnering with those organizations is something that it could be very helpful, of course, in different roles, the regulator, also the industry, because we have the same, I would say, the same long-term objective, which is promoting innovation and more options for consumers. And I think just to conclude, of course, this is quite difficult to talk to kids about blockchain, tokens, crypto assets, NFTs, but they are learning from it. So I would focus on teachers because they are adults, they are also investors, they are also curious about that. So I think perhaps the best channel to educate kids about these new technologies are the teachers. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vasco. Indeed. Okay. So I suggest I don't see like questions for the panelists. There was a question from the Secretariat, but I'm trying to get more information in order to be able to answer. So I will ask a question to the panel, and while the panel reflects on the answer, I would also like to launch an evaluation poll for the audience. So all of you can be busy on different tasks. So my colleague Valeria will shortly launch the evaluation poll for the audience, which is just to let us know if you like the webinar, and just for us to know, just for us to have feedback on this webinar. And in the meantime, I would like to ask the panel a question, which is, I'm sure everyone in the audience is also experiencing difficulties in involving teachers in Global Money Week and financial education more broadly. So could you share one challenge that you experienced in engaging teachers, either in Global Money Week specifically or in financial education in general, and how you overcome this challenge? And I'm sure this will be of great benefits for everyone who's listening. As in the meantime, I encourage everyone in the audience to briefly answer this evaluation poll, which helps us keeping track on how we are doing in these webinars. We are always very keen on evaluation. So I'm leaving you a few moments to look at the poll. And in the meantime, our colleagues in the panel can raise their hands to signal if they would like to answer my question.
I'll go first.
Please, Alina.
I think one of our challenge when engaging with teachers is to make them understand that financial literacy doesn't have to be a standalone subject, that it can be integrated within any subjects. And it's a matter of thinking about how that integration can come about, especially when financial literacy lesson objectives are not part of the core curriculum that they're teaching. So they might be teaching English, and financial literacy is not part of English, for example, and it makes it really difficult for them to want to include it. And so making sure that they are able to see the different ways, the creative ways to integrate, the importance of integrating financial literacy in it, and to see value in delivering financial literacy within their subjects as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. Please, Alina.
Yeah, I think I agree with Alina that one of the important challenges is that teachers are already burdened with so much of subjects they have to teach. And they also see that why I should add one more subject. So that is why I said that in our case, what we feel that first of all, we try to make them that there is something in for themselves. So make them first financially literate, that importance of financial education, and when they feel individually what is there in that. As I said, when we have this resource person model or the security model, the trainers who are really taking this to the various institutions, most of them are teachers. So when we inspire them, when we tell them that what is there for them in financial education, when we expose them to the various aspects of it, they get convinced more. And they said, yeah, this is more important. And especially now we are learning at this age, but it should be started at a young age. So that way, that is one way they are convinced to take them to the students. That is number one. The another problem which teachers might face is that how will their institutions or their heads of the institutions also should be in line with their thoughts. So if I am a teacher and if I want to take financial curriculum to my students, it may not be necessary that my head of the institutions will really agree for it. So for that, what we do is we separately engage with the head of the educational institutions. We have a 2-day program called the Principals Conclave, where they are also taken to all these, the experts in this field, they come and talk to them, engage with them. So they also feel convinced that yes, they can also do this, and it is very important for the students. So then, as I said, we have this, we allow the schools to have their own ways if they want to have the curriculum on their own. So we have created workbooks for them that they can use it. See, overall, so the challenge is to reach to the so many people. So that is the biggest challenge. So one of the best ways to reach them is digital methods is what we have to use it. But again, we have to see the access to the digital modes by many people for many schools in the far-flung areas, as Vasco was mentioning about the rural areas and all, access to digital means may be limited. So that is a challenge. And especially again, you have the disparity in the schools as well. Supposing these government-owned schools where there is not much of fees, where low strata of people might study and the higher strata of people studying in the public schools. So there are different schools, different educational institutions, different strata of people. So we try to, so the challenge is how to take to the various strata of the society students who are coming from various, income levels, that how you take them to them also the financial education. So at one level is the engagement of teachers. It is challenging. So as I said, how we engage them and make them feel that it is there something in for them also. So then they feel much more involved in taking this financial education. And one more thing which we also do, which I forgot to mention, is that we have an e-LMS, e-learning module. There are small videos, about 5.5 hours videos are there, small 20 videos. Anybody can watch this and take a self-test that whether I am financially literate or how much I am financially literate and all that. So all these things are small blocks, it may look, will add to the whole to ensure that, we take them to the financial literacy to teach to the schools as well as this thing. And as somebody else pointed out correctly, that different levels of students need different level of financial education material as well. So that also is thought when we create these workbooks for various standards. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing these insights. Of course, the financial education for teachers is also for themselves, and this is always a great motivation. So let me check. Yes, Stephanie, please.
Yes, yes, already a lot was said, so I cannot add a lot, but I would say that in Belgium, also one of the challenges, but actually also a big opportunity, is that financial education and financial literacy and competences was added a couple of years ago to the curriculum, but as a consequence, it found its way also in different subjects, not only a separate subject, financial education, but also in other subjects. So as a consequence, a lot of teachers who had not a lot of experience with it now have to teach something about financial education. So for them, it's also, first of all, to make them see the importance of it, that it's something useful for them as well. But on the other side, we try also to give them or to hand them a lot of practical ideas and tips they can use in the classroom, so that it's made easier, I would say, for them to directly start with it in the classroom. So
Yes, thank you so much. And so Vasco, please.
Just a quick comment that I do agree that there is a lot of thought here and comments that were shared, suggestions, so it's difficult to add, but just to say that we are living in an economy of attention. So which is powered by social media, there's new platforms, so it's quite difficult to compete for attention. There's a lot of information available. So that forces us to be inventive about the ways to capture the attention of teachers, but also students. And so, but at the same time, these new platforms that are globally available, TikToks, Facebook, and all this, I think this also played a role of like a level playing field for everyone. So it does not matter so much as if you have, you know, a lot of financial resources, big departments, because we are all using the same platforms, the new platforms. So there is an opportunity for a small jurisdiction or an organization that do not have financial resources to invest in large scale e-learning platforms to make a difference by using these systems that are already available. And in this sense, I think inventiveness is the key. So if you have your creativity, you have good ideas, the ideas rule the world. And my final comment about this, just to say that I think it's important to keep the flame burning all over the year, the flame of financial education. So using these technologies to engage through the year, it's really good and pave the way for a successful campaign in the next year. Sorry about the long comments. It was not short.
No, it was perfect and it was very interesting. Thank you for sharing, Vasco. So I will take the opportunity to share some more information about the process and coordination on the Global Money Week Secretariat side to answer one question that came through the Q&A. It was a question from Marietta, and she was asking, we have been in touch in the past few years directly with the Secretariat. Shall we now go through the national coordinator to share photos, information, videos, and reports, and so on? So the answer is it depends. In some countries, we have this figure and role of national coordinator. So I don't know which country you are from, but if there is a national coordinator in your country, we would prefer to have all the information coming from one organization, giving us information for the whole country, because it's much easier for us to handle. But if there is no national coordinator in your country, or if you don't know who this institution is, you can, of course, be in touch with us directly, and we can provide either more information, or we can take into account your information, reports, photos, and so on. So we remain flexible and we remain happy. You are from the Philippines, so I can check with Bianca if we don't have, okay. In this case, you can continue to liaise directly with us, and we will be happy to take your information into account. So I don't see any more substantial questions in the chat or Q&A. I see many people are sharing their websites. This is really great. We really appreciate any efforts to make Global Money Week even more global. So before closing, let me remind you, as Bianca posted in the chat, that we will have another similar webinar next week, talking about country experiences on monitoring and evaluating Global Money Week, and how you define success within Global Money Week in your countries. So we hope to have another interesting discussion, and do use the so-called pre-form to let us know your plans for Global Money Week, so that we can plan ahead and also help you disseminate further your activities, your social media posts, and help you have even a greater reach. And this year we are especially looking forward to knowing from you if you're organizing any special events or big launches at national or regional levels in your countries or in your areas. as we will be disseminating and sharing all this information publicly on the Global Money Week website, so that everyone around the world can hopefully participate in even more events globally, in their neighbors or in other countries speaking the same language. And with this, I will close this webinar. Let me thank very warmly once again Vasco, Stephanie, Hayaran, and Alina. And let me also thank Bianca and Valeria for the incredible support, and they are the ones who make Global Money Week happen in practice. So big applause to them, and have a good rest of the day to everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Kiara. Thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for this thought for organizing this webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.